Hey guys, welcome to my new movie collections update video for the month of December of 2014. I can't believe it's December already. Christmas is right around the corner, right? Ain't that a friggin' kick in the head, right? Anyway guys, so once again as always, I'm glad I welcome you for joining me for this video. Again, I have a nice little selection of movies that I've watched during the past couple of weeks, so I hope you guys enjoy. As always, like the video. If you like what I had to show you, leave me comments, guys. Give me suggestions, alright, for other things I should be on the lookout for, alright? So let's get started with this video. So the first video I have to show you is something that I actually talked about 2 months ago, actually, in October, during the October Horror Film Spotlight Month. And it is the film The American Werewolf in London. Now basically, if you saw that video back in October, then you pretty much know what I'm going to say about this one. So I'll keep my comments short about this film. But for myself, I remember, I think the first werewolf movie that I ever saw that I really did like, even though it kind of scared the crap out of me when I first saw it when I was like, a wee little, YouTuber, was this one basically. And to this day, I still feel like this is probably like the best portrayal of a conversion to a werewolf, from human to werewolf, because this is the first movie where basically they got away from just having the character or the actor pretty much stay still in front of the camera, and slowly the hair begins to grow out and stuff like that. This one basically you see how painful it is, the body stretching out, the bones elongating and all that stuff, and it's the real physical transformation, just how painful it is. So I really appreciate that. The makeup effects, of course, are always top notch. I really enjoy that about this film. And this movie is just creepy as all hell. There are a lot of really interesting shots that pretty much are effective in terms of kind of not so much showing the werewolf, but kind of hiding him. But it takes the perspective of the werewolf as he's chasing down his victims before he kills them. So there's a lot of good things about this movie. It's one of the classic werewolf movies that I grew up watching, and I had to get it for my collection. One for October, but one just to have it in my collection as well. But again guys, if you haven't seen this movie, definitely check it out. If you haven't, you should definitely give it another go. Definitely add it to your collection, guys. American Werewolf in London. The next film that I have to show you, of course, is another classic from the 80s, and it comes from, or it has, of course, I don't know what I could say about this particular actor. I've seen several of his films. He's always a hoot to kind of watch, and I'm referring, of course, to Chuck Norris, and in particular to the Delta Force. I remember watching this movie a long time ago and thinking, damn, it would be really cool to be part of a Delta Force team, just because of just how awesome they are. They go in there, they have particular tasks, take care of terrorists, take them out. It's a lot of fun. The basic premise of this film is that Chuck Norris is part of a Delta Commando unit, and there's a hijacking on a plane, and his team is sent in to try to rescue the hostages. That's pretty much it. But coming from the 80s, being Chuck Norris, it's just a whole lot of fun. Just to see Chuck Norris be the man that he is. Everything that embodies being a man. It's basically just Chuck Norris right here. That's it. Nothing else needs to be said about it, right? So, and honestly, I love the Delta Force, one, because of the action sequences, that stuff, fighting terrorism and all that stuff. But the soundtrack, especially that one particular song that they played constantly throughout this entire film, especially during all the action sequences, especially at the beginning, at the end of the film, that's that one track that they play that I think just, for me, just encapsulates what being a Delta Force member, is or was, back when I was really fond of this film, But definitely I had to get it when I saw it, It's definitely a nice fun flick, a nice fun, Chuck Norris flick to have. So guys, the Delta Force. The next film that I have to show you is, of course, another one coming from Tom Cruise, and it is the adaptation to the actual novel All You Need Is Kill, and it is The Edge of Tomorrow, or Live.Die.Repeat. So I read the novelized version, the Japanese novelized version of this, and I did enjoy it. And I saw the film adaptation with Tom Cruise, and I enjoyed it too. I mean, there were, of course, like anything, there are some differences, of course, between the two, but they actually complement. They do kind of answer some of the questions that you may have had, if you read the original novelized version of it. So. I mean, the most obvious thing, of course, that I can remember is that the reason why Tom Cruise gets his abilities here in the film is because of the blood transfer that all the blood is kind of splashed on him when he dies the first time. In the book, I don't remember if that was actually the real cause. I think that the main character basically just kills the right Sentinel mimic, and pretty much the powers just go over to him. That's pretty much what it is. And of course, in this one, there are some other differences, of course. I'm not going to give away anything because they actually pertain to how the movie kind of ends anyway. So If you have seen the film, then you know what I'm talking about. You know, especially if you read the novelized version of it, you know what the differences are. But honestly, I mean, they're both really good. You know, the novelized version on its own is a really good book to read, and the film itself I thought was really good. And you know, the basic premise is aliens attack, and the armies are trying to pretty much stop the invasion and pretty much kill all the mimics. But Tom Cruise, of course, happens to kill this one mimic, a specialized mimic, which they call an Omega, or the Alpha, I should say, the Alpha. They call it an Alpha mimic. And pretty much he goes into this loop of constantly repeating the same day over and over and over again. But he slowly begins to figure out how to become an adept fighter. And, you know, he meets Emily Blunt's character, who plays Rita Vitowski in this film. And it pretty much just goes from there, guys. So, I mean, again, overall, it was a great film. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy the book also. So I'd say definitely, you know, it's worth picking up, you know, both of them for a quick read and a quick film. All right, guys, so that was a lot of fun. Edge of Tomorrow. The next film that I have to show you is this film with Liam Neeson called The Third Person. And it's actually directed by the same person that did the film Crash. And if you remember the film Crash, that basically was multiple perspectives, ultimately culminating to one kind of event where all of them kind of cross or intertwine with each other. So it's a lot of different perspectives that you think are kind of like separate narrative stories, but they all have something in common. And you begin to slowly see what those things are in common as the film progresses. So this film, Third Person, is pretty much the same thing. A lot of different characters are introduced to you during the first half of the film. And they all kind of seem to revolve around the character of Liam Neeson in this film. So he has something to do with all or most of these characters. And you begin to slowly picture that, you know, there might be a fictionalized version to some of these characters, and then there are the realistic characters that are actually in the story. So it's interesting trying to figure out who are the fictionalized characters and who are the actual real characters in this film. And overall, it just basically deals with the relationship of a lot of these characters. So I thought it was a pretty unique story. It's very different from the movie Crash. I probably would say that I liked it, but not as much as I did Crash, because Crash, you know, had a more, you know, of a dramatic role dealing with a lot of other issues like, you know, race and violence and things like that in that film. And this one, again, it just deals more with, you know, relationships and how things can go awry depending on the different backgrounds that the characters have. But overall, you know, it was a really good movie. There's a really great cast with this movie. I think Adrian Brody is in it, Mila Kunis is in it. I forgot who else was in this film. James Franco, Olivia Wilde, Maria Bello, and Kim Basinger are in this film. So it's a really great cast in here, and they all do a magnificent job portraying the characters that they do. So overall, I really did enjoy the film a lot. So I definitely say it's definitely worth a look to check out Liam Neeson in Third Person. And it's one of those films, especially nowadays, since Liam Neeson is coming out with a lot of action films. It's interesting to see him do, you know, a non-action film, but this is more like I said, it's a relationship type film, so it's a little bit more on the drama side. So it's really interesting to see him do a role like this, and he does it fairly well too. So no complaints there. So definitely, I say check out, you know, Third Person if you haven't done so already. The next film that I have to show you, of course, I had to get because I have all the other films already in my collection too. So, and plus when I saw this at FYE at a cheap price, I said, what the hell, why not? And it was during the first week of release, and I saw it at such a cheap price. I think it was like $15 on Blu-ray. It's a Blu-ray combo pack. I said, what the hell? Yeah, I'm gonna get that anyway, regardless of what I think of it. And it is, of course, the fourth installment in Michael Bay's Transformers series, Transformers: Age of Extinction. And, you know, the basic story plot at this point now is several years after Dark Side of the Moon. The Transformers are all in exile. They're hiding away from humans because humans have started to hunt down the Transformers and pretty much just get rid of them entirely. And you begin to find out that the American government has been working with a rogue Transformer. And they've kind of made a partnership to get rid of all the other Transformers. And the rogue Transformer is kind of like a bounty hunter going around trying to capture certain Transformers to kind of add to his collection, kind of like, you know, trophy animal head mounted on the wall type of thing. So that's basically what happens. And Mark Wahlberg now is the new character. There's no more Shia LaBeouf anymore in this film. So there's a whole new cast of characters in here. So Mark Wahlberg's character and his family befriend Optimus Prime, and everything just kind of just rolls on from there in terms of trying to figure out who the rogue Transformer is that's trying to hunt them down, and just trying to survive. That's pretty much it, guys. And I guess the only other thing that people were really looking forward to in this film was seeing the Dinobots. And yeah, to a certain extent, I was excited to see the Dinobots here. But, you know, now going into a bit of my criticisms is that I think one of the obvious things that I kind of was confused about was why were the Dinobots so huge in this movie? If I remember correctly from the animated series, the Dinobots were about the same size as all the regular other Transformers. But here, you know, Grimlock is twice as tall as Optimus Prime. You know, it's just like, whoa, what the heck, man? It's crazy. But I mean, it's great seeing them transform into their Dinobot forms. I mean, all the dinosaurs are there, all of them that you remember from the original animated series. So they're all here again too. So it's really good, you know, in that sense. The visual effects, as always, from these films from Michael Bay are phenomenal. The explosions that you come to expect from Michael Bay films, of course, are you know, top notch. My only other complaint is that this movie is just too long. I believe it's almost 3.5 hours, and there's a lot of drag that happens in between, you know, a lot of the action sequences in this film, between, you know, the robot fights and whatnot. So it just felt like it was kind of dragging a little bit too much on that particular point. So that's why I felt that this movie was just too long. I think it could have been told, you know, in a shorter amount of time, you know, just to get a lot of the main points from A to B to C, whatever, across. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, if you enjoy the Transformers, the modernized Transformers films, you'll definitely like this one a lot. You know, it's there. I think Michael Bay is talking about another movie coming out eventually. I don't know if that's true, so whatever. But Transformers, Age of Extinction, guys. All right? And the last film that I have to show you is something that I saw when I was in Japan over the summer. I really did like it. And I have most of the other films in the series as well, part of my collection. It's a comic book movie, guys, so if you've seen any of my previous videos, then you probably know what this is. And it is, of course, X-Men Days of Future Past. I have to say that I love this movie. This is probably the best X-Men film that's come out to date already. So there's just so much that happens in this film. Basic synopsis. It's in the future. All the X-Men are pretty much being hunted down by the Sentinels, and basically, last remnants of the X-Men are trying to develop a plan to try to send someone back into the past to try to prevent Mystique, the character Mystique played by Jennifer Lawrence, from killing Peter Dinklage's character, who was the creator of the Sentinel program, from, you know, killing him and then having herself get captured and, you know, using her blood to pretty much create a new wave of Sentinels, which is pretty much just dominates everything, and they kill all the X-Men that way. So, so it's a really cool, nifty time traveling flick where Wolverine gets sent to the past, and he tries to stop Jennifer Lawrence's character from killing Peter Dinklage's character in this film. And it's a lot of fun, guys. There's so much stuff that happens in this film, and I know that I tried my best to just summarize just the main points that I felt, you know, where it pretty much encapsulates the whole story of what this movie is going to be about. And it just so much that happens in this film. I think it's a really nice tie-in to some of the older X-Men films that came out, especially like the first three, because there are a lot of things that are shown or mentioned in this film that kind of go back to the original, you know, film trilogies, and kind of it's a nice way of, you know, pretty much just putting an end to that chapter in the X-Men series, and it's just a lot of fun. I've not probably said that already like several times already, just when I just showed you this particular movie. But really, guys, and if you love the X-Men series, this is the best one in the entire series, man. So I definitely say pick it up, own it, watch it several times, watch it with your friends if you're all comic book fans, because you'll definitely have lots to talk about afterwards. So I definitely enjoyed this movie a lot, guys. So I definitely say pick it up and have it in your collection as well. And that's pretty much it, guys. So that's all that I had to show you for this particular video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said before, like the video if you like what I had to show you. Leave me comments. Tell me what you think about these particular films. Do you agree or disagree with some of the comments that I had to say? Give me recommendations for other things that you think I should be looking out for in the future as well, guys, all right? So that's pretty much it, guys, all right? So my next video won't be until next month, January. By then it'll be 2015. So, you know, as always, guys, stay safe, keep watching films, and I'll catch you next time, all right, guys?